Good evening, everyone. Of course, you're going to hear the dogs. They're excited that we're here today. I have to laugh because, number one, I am not all that savvy yet. And what you don't know is that backstage of the StreamYard event series here, I have Miss Guterres in the background yelling at me because I sent out the wrong link to everyone. So I am glad that if you're with us, that you got the right link, and I hope that you're look at Mr. Trujillo, our artistic director, and our assistant principal Roxanne Hatfield are just loving this moment. Literally have Andrea Guterres in the background going, "I'm sweating, you're stressing me out, Tim." So if you are with us, I am incredibly grateful. I know that every day you are welcoming our teachers and our staff into your living rooms as your kids are engaging in online learning. And similarly, we are inviting you into our spaces to say hello, and we are glad that you are with us. I sent out a message this morning thanking you for the trust and the perseverance that you place in our work with your students. And so I mean that from the bottom of my heart. One of the things that I keep thinking of over and over again is the power of the arts and learning in terms of connecting us. And I think that tonight is just one more opportunity to see you all and be with you this evening and create a space where we can dialogue about where we are currently and where we plan on going. Again, I'd like to thank our artistic director, Richard Trujillo, for joining us this evening, our assistant principal, Roxanne Hatfield, joining us. And I soon hope that Dr. Gordon, he had a bit of a holdup, but he will be coming as well and joining us. So I see your comments. It's wonderful to see so many familiar names and faces, and thank you for joining us. I actually want to start off in the email I sent this morning. I had asked you, and don't tell the staff yet because they actually don't know that I did it. I sent out an email requesting that you all highlight the extraordinary things that our educators, whether it be front office team, whether it be our teachers, our counselors, our admin team, you name it. I want to start off by highlighting some of the comments that you sent in today. And because I have Guterres up in arms at the moment, I'm going to share someone's post about her. And if you don't know, Andrea Guterres is our front office production manager. She coordinates the audition process and really leads so much of the production work on our site. So this is the parent comment regarding Ms. Guterres. While all the staff has been extremely kind and patient, I definitely want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Andrea Guterres. These distant times have proven to be extremely hard in a household where two older at-risk grandparents who have no technology knowledge, as much as not even knowing how to use the email, are raising two young grandchildren. Guterres has been so helpful to our family, walking us through every process and procedure as the school changes, providing us with all the requested info and details and guidance with such an inviting and kind presence. She is always prompt with her communication, friendly and patient. We appreciate her dearly. And I want to say the same thing. Shout out to Ms. Guterres for everything that you do in keeping us together. I'm going to turn it over to Richard Trujillo and Roxanne Hatfield to share some as well.
Which one of us is going to go first? I'll go first. We've had a number of celebrations come in with teachers. I'm just going to kind of flip over and take a look at some of the things that folks have been saying about Miss Tamara Page, about Miss Lamette, Miss Thomas, Mr. Ramey, Miss Carrasco, Miss Barcelona. So many different folks that are getting lots of kudos for the effort that they are giving, going above and beyond in this amazingly challenging time. One person wrote about Miss Page. In a time when her orchestra cannot perform together, Miss Page has done all she can, including inviting professionals to participate to ensure her musicians have ways to continue working on their skills so that when they do finally assemble, they'll be fully ready for ensemble work. She is awesome. And I absolutely agree with that. Miss Barcelona, my daughter always mentions her class and says that the projects, assignments are always so well thought out and presented and are always beneficial to the students and their learning. And even though she doesn't have Miss Barcelona's class this semester. Miss Barcelona continues to check in with my daughter, I imagine all of the students, and provides her with opportunities to submit dance videos, etc. She has made a big impression on my daughter, and that is for sure. Those are just a couple. We'll share some more a little bit later during our presentation this evening.
And I am going to share a couple that we had about Mr. Bloss. He is one of our social studies teachers on campus, for those of you that don't know him. And some of the beautiful things that families have said about Mr. Bloss are the following. He sent my daughter Happy Mail, a note, and a few pieces of candy for participating in class. The smile she got when opening the mail was great. She was shocked he took the time to send her a prize. Another comment from a parent. He is able to engage a very tough crowd, middle schoolers during a pandemic, with fun, entertaining, and educational games during class time. Parents got to participate during back to school night too. I can see why my child looked forward to his class and never dreaded attending. He's able to meet the students where they are and really connect with them while teaching them history. Another teacher that I would like to acknowledge is Mr. DeFreitas. He is our math department chair. Mr. DeFreitas is wonderful at communication and working directly with students to make sure that everyone is succeeding. During all of my tests and exams that we had during class, he made sure to make accommodations, and he communicated with me directly each time to make sure I had the best environment possible for test taking. So those are some of the comments that parents have shared about our academic staff. And we know we have a wonderful staff that shows up every day, and they are dedicated to educating the young folks that show up. You know, cameras on, cameras off, it doesn't make a difference. They're there and they're dedicated.
That is true, Roxanne. Thank you, Richard and Roxanne, for sharing some of those. I tell you one thing, I asked at the beginning of the year, my number one priority for you and your work as a teacher at SCPA is to show up for the heart of our kids. You can have the highest standards and expectations for children and students, but at the end of the day, if you don't love and lift them and know where they are each and every day, you're missing what is real in education and teaching and learning. So absolutely, thank you. Those of you who have an outstanding educator, let's catch them in the act of great education, great teaching, and great learning. And I invite you to fill out that survey. Yes, Liz, it is all about that relational capacity, right? It's about that relationship, that learning partnership that really allows people to learn. Okay, so great evening this evening for you. Thank you for those of you who submitted questions. Our topics this evening, we're going to be talking about WASC because you're going to be inundated with a lot of communication surveys and whatnot for the upcoming WASC process. We're going to talk about what that is. We're going to talk about the 2021 and 2022 budget for next year and what that means for our community. We're then going to go into some master schedule planning. We're moving into a 4x4 schedule for grades 6 through 12. And so that'll impact the courses and number of courses that your students are taking. And then we're going to look at, of course, some reopening up. And Dr. Gordon has joined us. Thank you, Dr. G. It's so good to see you. What a beautiful blue background.
Yep. How we doing?
Great. It's great seeing you. I'm glad you made it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into master schedule 4x4, answer a few questions about AP testing. We have some arts work that we're going to share. I know some of you had some questions about what that might look like as well. And then I think we're going to end with some more accolades. Oh, no. I have some information about senior graduation and 8th grade promotion, a question about the grading policy, and we have a full evening. And then we'll go back to the educator, outstanding educator survey results that you all submitted. So thank you so much for joining us this evening. And let's go ahead and get started. The first thing is WASC. WASC, W-A-S-C. This is the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. This is what guarantees the value of your student's diploma. Basically what it is a process that we go through. It's called a focus on learning, where We analyze our learning systems, our school systems to ensure that we have high expectation standards and supports for all students. And so it's really one of those opportunities that we hold up a mirror to ourselves and ask, how well are we doing what we say we're going to be doing? And that is the vision of the schoolwork, right? How well are we implementing our vision for all students, not just some? So if you're interested in joining a focus group, we have 5 focus groups. We would love to have parent voice on it. There is a link in Friday Notes, and this is a reminder that Friday Notes comes out every Friday, but it is available and updated every week, and it is live, so it's something that continually evolves. So absolutely make sure that you're checking out Friday Notes and clicking on the links. We'd love to have you as part of our team, and I think actually it's coming through right now on the chat. Check that out. This whole StreamYard thing is fancy. We're now going to move into the 2021-2022 budget planning. So I will say this, we're moving forward as though we will have a brick and mortar school happening next year. We're going to plan as though it's going to be a, quote, typical school year for our 6 to 12 students. What I would say first off is I want to thank the Friends of SCPA and that monthly giving campaign, because without that monthly giving campaign, and those of you who have chosen to donate even a small amount, you have saved the arts programs in our school. I don't know if you know this, but when we plan a season, it costs around $100,000 to do. And we had it all planned. We had hired all of our choreographers, our set designers, costume designers. We had paid for the hourly works of our directors, our designers, you name it. So when we spent all that money and then we didn't have a season to gain some income back, it completely decimated us. And so I thank those of you who are generous and do that monthly donation, because every small amount helps. $5, $100, every little piece helps make a difference. And if you've seen the Salon series, and if you've been a part of Les Mis productions or the industry professionals that keep coming into our school, it is because of the generous support of Friends of SCPA. They are what allow us to do what we do and do it well. So I want to thank all of our donors. In terms of our budget next year, we pretty much look the same as this year. Our enrollment is slightly down. So if you know anybody who wants to join the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts, please, please, please send them our way. We would love to audition and welcome new students into our SCPA family. As you know, our enrollment, particularly during online learning, has been low. And so we want to make sure that we get it right back up where it should be so we can continue to support all of our programs and maintain the teaching FTE and dollars that it takes to run our school. I'm also going to move into master schedule planning. One of the things that we have decided to do next year in budget planning is really look at what we call MTSS, and that is the multiple tiers of support. So we will be hiring someone to come in and really focus on the student needs for the emotional needs, the instructional needs of our students, and dedicated lens specifically for those kids that may be falling through the cracks. We know that students coming back after a pandemic, even the staff, right? We all have to take care of each other. And so we're going to shift our staffing to make sure that we're being very mindful of those kids who need us most. And now I will turn it back over to Roxanne Hatfield. Roxanne Hatfield has been working with a committee of, I think, nearly 20 people to work out what is best for our kids in 2021, 2022. So without further ado, Roxanne, tell us about the work.
We have about 20 teachers that work on the master schedule committee, and we come together to have conversations about a hybrid schedule. Do we go back to a 7-period day? What is going to meet the needs of our student population? Anytime, and even when we get directives from the district, we take a look at how do we create a schedule that is student-centered, and that is one of our primary goals. How do we create a schedule that focuses around the student? We had many conversations, I want to say, over the past month about what kind of schedule do we go back to. And looking at the feedback from families, we did send out a survey, and thank you to those of you that filled out the survey. we are going to launch for the first time a hybrid 4x4. What is a hybrid 4x4? Basically, our students will be taking 8 classes for the whole entire year, 4 classes each semester. The reason why we call it a hybrid is that students will be taking their arts classes because that was one of the things that all of our stakeholders value, and that's why students come to SCPA. They come to be passionate and grow and thrive in their art. So art classes will be offered all year long. So students will shift on an A-B schedule. One day they'll have, I'm going to use dance because dance is one of the easier programs to explain. One day they'll have A day they'll have ballet, B day they'll have modern, and they'll have those 2 classes all year long. So it's nice because that was one of the things that stakeholders in our community really, really wanted. We weren't able to do that this year because of the pandemic and the distance learning, but we figured out how to do it for next year. So that is the key to creating the master schedule for next year. So a hybrid 4x4, students will take 4 classes, actually 5 classes a semester, and they will have arts all year long. What else with master schedule? We have sent out a survey to 6th and 7th grade families because we want to ensure that we have your child in the appropriate arts program. Sometimes what happens is that we schedule students not necessarily based on their want, but sometimes maybe what we have available. And we really, really want to ensure that students are scheduled into the program where they really, really want to be and where they can definitely grow. So 6th and 7th grade families, if you haven't filled out the survey yet, please go ahead and fill out the survey. We are starting articulation. Articulation is where students sign up for their courses. Most of the students have already been mass loaded, and our counselors, we have 4 wonderful counselors, they're going to start doing one-on-ones with families. So please look out for the robocalls and the emails from your counselors, and they will be meeting with your students to go over their course requests for the upcoming fall. That's all I have. Anything else anybody would like to add to the master schedule, please? Please go ahead. You're muted.
See, I am new to this. One of the parent questions, one is the next progress report, and that is April 12th, 2021, I believe. There was also a question about AP tests. Did you want to update or have any updates on that one?
I can't update on AP testing. Quarter 4 will actually start on April 12th, just to let families know that, and that'll be the last quarter for this school year. AP testing, we are moving forward with AP testing. There are only 2 AP exams that must be done on site, and that is AP Music Theory and AP Spanish Language. So if your child is signed up for either one of those AP exams, Ms. Cavada will be reaching out to you to give you more information about when your child needs to come on campus. All the other AP exams can either be given digitally or they can be given in person. We haven't decided what we'd like to do yet, and actually the student has the option of what they want to take. We're working very closely with Rachel Amata on the district level in order to figure out how to best sign up students for whichever exam they'd like to take. Ms. Cavada will be continuing her communication with families, and actually the last day to order an exam is this Friday, May the 12th. So if you'd like to order an exam, you've already put in for an exam or no longer want to take an exam, please contact Ms. Cavada, or you can contact me and I will share the information with her. And that is all that I have for AP testing. We learn things from week to week, so as we find out information, we will definitely share it with families.
Yes, the quote of the year is, "When we have a plan, we'll share a plan."
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Roxanne. I know you're leading that work, and it's heavy lifting for sure. I also want to say one of the perks for the master's schedule is the opportunity for equity. And when I saw Liz's comment about focusing on what students' needs are, in the past, the students needed a support class, or were an English language learner, or needed additional study support or remediation work. They would oftentimes have to give up their arts classes. But the 4x4 schedule allows all students to be on a path and feel supported. And so it was a really important decision for equity that we move forward with the 4x4 schedule. Another great opportunity is the opportunity for AVID. We hope to bring in some AVID classes for our middle school families as well. So great opportunities. Roxanne, are you making dinner back there? I hear it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I hope
It's
somebody's
the
going to bring
kids.
some over. All I have is Uber Eats around here. Okay. Reopening spring of 2021. Oh, Roxanne's going to leave us. I love this. This is fun. Reopening for 2021. So one of the questions I am asked often is, so the news says we're opening on April 12th. What's the plan? What does it look like? It's going to be hybrid. What options do we have? Everything down to the great details. I mean, I'm loving our parents and our families because they want to know even down to the details of what is the air ventilation in the classroom. So I will start off by saying this. When we get a plan, we will share a plan. That is not to say that we're not constantly brainstorming and looking at other, yes, Liz, you did. We're always looking for innovative ways to continue to do what we do. So, I mean, even this afternoon, I was on the phone call with Art Schools Network leaders, which is leaders from art schools from all over the country, talking about how and what we can do to serve students and stay true to who we are. So, our planning process we take very seriously. And when we have a plan, we will share a plan. The most important thing you can do right now to help us out is complete the district survey. I've sent it out several times. It's in our Friday notes. I think the link is going to there it is. Dang, it's so beautiful how this magic works here. It's on the bottom in your comment section. We need to get the data in order to make some decisions. So we need to know what your preference is. I probably would get in trouble for this, but wouldn't be the first time. My guess is that we will be cohorting students. I'm guessing that it probably may be that 50% of our students will be on campus for a week and then the next 50% the next week, to cohort it out. I'm guessing that classes will be online and virtual, but like I said, there's so much up in the air that we need to think about to protect the health and safety of our students and staff, our families, and also to stay true to who we are. I know that a lot of our staff will be vaccinated by the end of the month, but that does not mean that the families at home, those of you who are living with grandparents, those of you who have, folks in your families, I know that we want to respect everyone's safety. What percentage of faculty and staff are currently vaccinated? I don't have access to that information. Vaccination is personal and it's up to the teacher and staff member to choose to do. Are there options for a hybrid? Yes, I'm guessing that is what it would look like. I don't know what the hybrid would look like. I don't necessarily know the school day hours. When we built the schedule that we're on, we were going to continue with that same model. And so my guess is that we will continue with the 8 to 12:30. Students will get a grab and go lunch. Transportation for students that still qualify for transportation will be provided. So it will be tricky and it will be a new schedule. And again, I want to say that it will be optional. These are the pieces that I do know, right? But stay tuned. And like I said, the most important thing you can do right now is complete the district survey so that we can know your preference, so that we can start to develop a plan around staying true to who we are, balancing the health and safety needs of our community, and staying within the parameters of policies and best practices in learning towards our vision. I know that folks wanted a more robust plan, and I know you were getting your popcorn out to get more details, but sadly, I don't have anything yet. But trust me, when I do, we will. Another question that came up too was, how are teachers about returning to in-person hybrid? I'm going to say this. Our teachers are going stir crazy because they miss the energy of our students. And they miss the energy that the kids, when they light up in the classroom in front of them, they miss the energy of seeing their faces. I have new students who have never been to our campus before, and we're already brainstorming ways to bring them onto our campus and make them feel loved and supported within 6 feet, of course, and wearing a mask. But we are constantly thinking about how to take care of and welcome in students who have never been on our campus before, and those we're bringing back who may have experienced some incredible trauma during our break. Heavy work. And I'm seeing the question, how to qualify for transportation. It's in, you fill out, I believe, the transportation survey, and it's based upon zip code and address. And I think it has to be a certain number of folks within a certain radius that qualifies for a transportation spot.
And you have to be outside of a 5-mile radius from the school.
Yes. I do not believe there will be an option for students to return to school full-time. If by full-time you mean from 8:30 to 3:30, I do not think that will be an option. But like I said, we're rolling with the flow these days, and we're going to wait. So much changes so fast. And so the minute that we know what is certain, we will absolutely get back to you with what we can and cannot do. I think on that note, I turn it over to what is keeping so many of our students engaged. I'm going to say this, when I go into the classrooms, watching kids do what they love is the saving grace of the day. And so much of what we're learning about our students and our staff during this time is it's hard work and it's heavy work. And I think, again, I thank you families for sticking with us and being by our side and supporting our teachers and our entire team and supporting each other during this process, because it's made all the difference in the world. Mr. Trujillo, how are you?
I'm well. I'm well. I'm tired in a completely different way. Zoom fatigue is real. It's so hard to spend 6 to 8 to 9 hours sometimes literally 10 or 11 hours a day communicating with folks this way. It's just so hard. You don't get any energy back, as Mr. Farson was talking about. And you certainly don't get any students walking into your office to sort of fill your cup up every single day. We don't have any of that. So this Zoom fatigue is real, but you know what? We're doing pretty well. Where did Mr. Farson just disappear to? Mr. Farson, I'm going to go ahead and just talk a little bit about the arts side of things. As Mr. Farson was indicating earlier when he was introducing tonight's meeting, when we shut down a year ago this Friday, we were in our first preview of In the Heights, and we still had half of our season left to go on the calendar. It was devastating for us. Devastating because not only did we miss out on all of those performances in the different disciplines, visual and media arts, cinematic arts, dance, music, and musical theater, but we missed out on approximately about $55,000 to $60,000 in income that we were counting on in terms of our main stage box office. So when the summer months hit and we were looking at how are we going to keep our community connected, one of the things that I mentioned to our stakeholders, many of you at the beginning of the year, was we didn't want to try to supplant what we do at SCPA with creating new platforms for performance. Without question, digital media has been inundated with virtual performing and performances. Many have been, relatively unsuccessful. Some have been a little bit more successful than others, but nothing can replace that in-person chemistry that happens when folks are sharing an experience together live. There is just something magical that happens to the human condition that resonates and takes us deeper into the understanding of whatever is moving us on stage, on a canvas, on a screen. It doesn't matter. When we're moved together in that space, the world becomes a place where we're united in a way like no other. The human condition unites every single heart, every single soul, and every single mind in that moment. And that's what is so incredible about what we do in the arts. And so over the summer, we said, well, how are we going to keep our community together? And one of the things that we were able to do, thanks to the Friends of SCPA, is we were able to create the hub. And if you haven't visited it yet, it's an incredible machine that started out as an idea, but now has become an indelible part of our messaging, our communication, and we're gonna stay developing it as we move forward. On the hub at sdscpamainStage.com, you can get all information regarding the auditions and audition processes. As a matter of fact, because of this virtual world, we're now able to hold office hours for audition information and talk to potential families and students one-to-one about how to navigate the online audition process. The second component of that is that we've gone to a year-round audition ideal now. So auditions for the SDSCPA will not just simply happen once a year. They will be on a year-round ongoing basis. It'll be a rolling audition and admissions type of opportunity for folks. So when folks are asking, like, is it too late to apply? Absolutely not. What you want to do is you want to check with enrollment options first to make sure that you qualify. Because if you are currently attending a San Diego Unified school, there is the district window for the online choice form. That choice form is unfortunately does have a beginning, middle, and end to when you can actually turn that in order to qualify for an audition for the SDSCPA. Now, if you're outside of the district, new to San Diego, we're going to stay open year round. You're going to be able to contact enrollment options, fill out the form, the choice form, and then contact us or go to sdscpamainstage.com and click on auditions, and then allow that process, that online connection and process, to take you through every component and every phase of it. And if you ever have any questions, you email me at rtrujillo@sandy.net, or Miss Gutierrez at agutierrez3@sandy.net, or A. Manabusen, Miss Anne Marie Manabusen. We're all here to help you and guide you through the process. I think one of the things that we've discovered and learned in this time of separation and things kind of slowing down is how much more we need to create access for everyone. And we're doing a really good job about being intentional about what that means for us. In addition to that, when you go to the hub, you're going to be able to take a look at our salon series. Our salon series is exactly what we say in our mission. We are bringing some of the best and the brightest in the industry, folks who are iconic names in some cases, some that are just emerging, and some that are mid-career, who come into the salon series and talk about their artist journey. And what's the purpose of that, parents? It's to give you, the parent and the student, insight into the practical application of taking your arts education and your arts training and making it part of your career pathway, whether you move on to the post-secondary or not. This kind of education that we are providing for our students is unique. This does not happen at every single campus. It's why we're a member of a national organization called the Art Schools Network, because there are literally a handful of us across the nation that comprise these unique types of learning atmospheres. And as most of you well know, it allows for us to have the kind of culture, the kind of community, and the kind of sense of belonging that students have at SCPA when you show up on our campus. So all of that is absolutely relevant. In addition to that, we have college and conservatory conversations where we're talking to admissions directors. In some cases, because of the shutdown, we're talking to vice presidents of schools and talking about admissions, using your art to apply to one of the many schools that are out there. We talked to the Berklee College of Music. We talked to the Boston Conservatory. We talked to High Point University this past year. We had a huge series of conversations with USC. We explored every single arts access point that the University of Southern California has. We talked to Tisch, and we talked to all of these schools in regards to not only what they've been doing historically as leading arts institutions, but how they've been navigating the currency with this sense of distance and online. And I can tell you collectively that one of the things that you'll hear is that online's not going anywhere. And certainly not at the post-secondary level. The digital medium and the digital arts are going to continue to be a part of our growth. And that's another thing that I think we take tremendous pride at SCPA with, and that is staying current. What are post-secondary schools looking for, whether it's conservatories, colleges, universities? It doesn't matter what it is. It can be, training schools, whatever, vocational programs. It doesn't matter what it is. We stay absolutely current with the language of today and how you're going to access today. And parents, all of that has an impact on so many different aspects of what you want to stay informed about and what you want your students to stay informed about. Again, one of the beautiful things about attending the SCPA is that you're not in a comprehensive high school where you're trying to complete your 44 graduation units and maybe your A to G requirements. At the SCPA, you must complete your A to G requirements in academics. You must. It is a requirement by the district. It's mandated. So every student that graduates from San Diego Unified is supposed to be ready to access the UC system, CSU system, and they're supposed to be college ready. In addition to that, we add an entire scope and sequence in the arts, preparing your student to be conservatory ready. And when you combined those two components together, you're talking about a unique candidate for the post-secondary. And I can tell you right now that in this time of distance, we have been gifted the opportunity to reevaluate a number of our systems. Many of our systems are actually right now guided by the standards prescribed by the by ACPAS, the Accrediting Commission for Community and Pre-Collegiate Art Schools. One thing that this moment has given us an opportunity to do is to reflect on all of the work that we've done over the last 5 years and how we can make substantive and important changes to making sure that every single student is getting what we say we offer and what we promise in our vision, that every single student will be pre-conservatory, that will be conservatory ready and ready to meet the challenges of the 21st century creative economy. And so right now, more than ever, we're taking a look at our narratives, we're defining our terms, and we're looking at how we are going to grow holistically as a school site. So one thing I want to encourage everyone is this season, this year's season planning, we want to invite all stakeholders. I have sent out through Friday notes and through email communication within the school site. Everyone is invited to come and be a part of our main stage exhibition and performance season conversation. And why? One is to clarify what main stage is all about, how main stage interacts and with our curriculum, and how it extends beyond the school day. In addition to that, to really wrap our arms around and clarify more specifically for folks, the value, importance, and necessity of juries and showcases. For many of you, we've only been in the short-term process of rolling out the juries. Showcases, we were just barely starting to dip our feet in the shallow end of the pool when we shut down last year. Juries and showcases are going to continue to evolve, and they're going to become much more sophisticated, much more regular presences on our campus, because every student must be regularly evaluated in their development in their art form. So we've got a lot of work to do, I guess is what I'm saying. There's a lot of information that we want you to be a part of as we continue our evolution. And it's critical because our evolution, is about keeping in place this pillar organization called the San Diego School of Creative and Performing Arts. And the way the district wants us to do that is by achieving national arts accreditation. That is something that will single us out across the country, across the nation, and certainly be something that the district can boast in terms of the kind of option in the arts that is available in the San Diego Unified School District. So we've got a lot of work to do that's still in front of us. I think we are wanting to be as even more welcoming than we've ever been before. So please be on the lookout for more information coming up about things. And please do not be afraid to email us and email me directly. The conversations are what keep us ideating, moving forward, and improving the experience for your students and for you and for our community at large.
Thank you, Richard. And one of the things I know that we definitely can't miss this evening is a huge shout out and congratulations to Andra Day and her Golden Globe win for Best Performance by an Actress in her film United States versus Billie Holiday. We are extremely proud of her. I think in so many ways, her heart and what she brings to the craft are, testimonial to the sorts of training and the sorts of experiences you get at SCPA. Shout out to Andra Day because she's been a huge supporter of ours and credits a lot of her beginning in the arts to Mr. Doyle, Gail McKinney, Sandra Foster King, Don Robb, all those folks who are critical pieces of the SCPA family. So shout out to Andrew Day, and look forward to more honors and accolades and just stories of people living what they love. Absolutely. Okay, moving on, we have senior graduation and 8th grade promotion. So we have been meeting with the senior class cabinet and ASB, which is the student government, about every 2 to 3 weeks about their plans and any updates. So I'm hoping that you parents of seniors and 8th graders are staying at least a little bit more informed than usual. So this is what we are. So the graduation is still slated to be June 15th, I believe. I believe that's the Tuesday, June 15th. We're still planning on that day. Whether it is a virtual ceremony, we do not know yet. We are, I know, working for being optimistic and hoping for a very limited in-person survey. I know I've had folks, or sorry, in-person ceremony. I know I've had people email me saying, "All this family is flying in." I would pause, and like I tell my team, pause and breathe, and I wouldn't count on bringing all of the aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, the entire entourage for our celebrity students to the graduation ceremony. I know if anything, it may be very limited to 2, 3, 4 guardians per student. And I do not anticipate that we'll have the full scale graduation ceremony, but hey, fingers crossed. 8th grade promotion, similar planning, similar policies and rules in place there. So again, when we have a plan, we will let you know the plan, but know that we're not just kind of sitting here twiddling our thumbs. We are waiting new data. We're waiting for what other schools are doing in our district, and we're waiting for some district cooperation to know what other schools across the district are doing. We want to make sure that we're providing an opportunity for our students and families that are comparable to other schools in our district. I think one of the last things is new grading policy. So as you know, some changes have been happening and we are moving towards a standards-based grading policy. And I know that so many of our parents sometimes get confused or kind of shrug your shoulders like, what are they doing now? So one of the things that is important is that grades are about mastery of the Common Core state standards. And I challenge you because one of the things we're really moving toward is the grades really showing mastery of those standards. And I think if you look in Common Core state standards, you won't find a state standard about being late or turning your work in on time or having a hat on or a hoodie. So what that's saying is we separate the behaviors of students, the citizenship behaviors, from the mastery of academic standards behavior. And so what you'll see in an academic grade is, guess what? Mastery and assessments of academic content. And you'll find citizenship grades really measuring the behaviors of what it means to be a good student. Does standards-based grading mean that we don't value turning your work in on time? No. But what I do want to say, if a kiddo is mastering calculus standards, then I want to make sure they're getting an A for that. But if they never turn their work in on time, then I want to say, no, you're not being an outstanding citizen because you don't turn your things in on time. So I think it's important that we establish that distinction. I also think one of the things that I know came up is my kiddo is doing really well on the practice, but we don't grade practice. You're just grading the assessments, the final summit of assessments. So I feel like the practice should also be included in the grade. And I'm going to use this example because this one kind of really got me because it took me a really long time for me to learn how to ride my bike, right? Imagine if I was graded on whether or not, right? And grades, don't forget, can influence whether you get into a school or not get into a school. So they can forever determine the future in terms of college admission. So let's remember that that's what's at stake here, right? The money, the financial aid, the college acceptance. Imagine if I was graded on how many times I fell off the bike while I was learning to ride my bike. I don't think I would be in front of you right now. I almost gave up 16 times, right? But the point is, I learned to ride the bike, and that's what counts when you show mastery of the standards. So a lot of our grading policy, and look, we're going to work with you. We're going to continually work with our teachers to train them as an adjustment in philosophy and thinking. And we're going to continue to work just like Common Core, right? I know that I see all the Facebook memes about my kids learning how to add and subtract like the old school. And I'm thinking, that's unfortunate because the 21st century doesn't need people who can just add and subtract. It needs people to understand and be creative about how numbers work. And that's the 21st century economy. We're creating jobs and citizens for people that jobs that don't even exist yet. So we have a lot of innovative work to do to keep moving forward. On that note, I'm going to turn it over because one of the big groups that we are all assembling around is, of course, our Black students and our Black youth. And I did want to highlight Dr. Gordon's work. He's been leading this work on our campus. We have a team together, and I know even in the few meetings that we've had, there's been some really, really, really powerful moving discussions and work. So if you want to talk to us about that.
Yeah, I just want to say that we are working with the adults on campus, the teachers, trying to change the hearts and the minds and the practices and getting our teachers to look at themselves, their experiences that they're bringing to school, and also take into account the experiences that our kids are bringing into school. And we're having conversations. Some of them are pretty deep, race and becoming an anti-racist and abolitionist. These are not easy conversations. So we are inviting all staff members to meet with us once a month. Generally, it's the last Wednesday of the month at 2 o'clock. And we are putting together a plan of how we can better support our African-American students on our campus.
Well, thank you, Dr. Gordon, for that update
Yep.
as well. I believe I'm just going to do a real quick shout out for a reminder to always keep checking our Friday notes. Parents, I am counting on you being connected through Power School. We update the Power School bulletin in there, so when you click on announcements, you can also see announcements there. One of the things I know is most critical right now, more than ever, is communication. And so we keep trying to use the Main Stage Hub, our website, our social media, Facebook. If you haven't liked us on Facebook, do that now. You name it. We're trying everything we know in our power to make sure that communication is strong. I want to end with some shout outs. I'm going to encourage you, because I know even since I've been sitting here, I'm watching the survey results come in. Catch an educator doing outstanding things. And we want to make sure that we continue to support and love not only our students, but also the staff and educators that show up every day to continue to create opportunities where kids can live what they love. I'll open up to the admin team to share out. Actually, you know what? I'm going to share this one with Miss Pickering. Miss Pickering from the McCain family. Miss Pickering has been instrumental in helping our family and son transition into high school at SCPA during this past school year. She is incredibly communicative, committed, persistent, and just on top of things. We are always grateful for her help and feel like she is a go-to whenever we are feeling lost, no matter what the reason. That is above and beyond, Miss Pickering. So I want to shout out to you and thank you for all that work. Who else has one?
I want to share a couple more. And while I'm scrolling over to get the comments, I do want to remind folks, as far as student work in the arts is concerned, we're still working on Les Miserables. We are planning an online presentation that is combining all of the arts together. And literally almost the entire high school program is involved in it in some capacity. So be looking out for that. That presentation is going to go live late in May. In addition to that, the new student series, The Surface. Our students have come up with their own student series, and it is absolutely brilliant. It's every Monday at 5 o'clock. Parents, if you want to see what kids, what their perspective is, what issues are driving them, and what their school means to them, you're going to want to come and check out the Surface, 5 o'clock on Fridays. Just incredible stuff. I want to do a quick shout out to Miss Page. This one is from Miss Page, Miss Lamette, Miss Thomas, Miss Burnham, Miss Carrasco, Mr. Ramey, and Miss Moore. These teachers have really helped my daughter become better by helping her come out of her shell, because she's very shy. She becomes motivated in class. She has a great time in class, and they are always there to help on what they needed, whether it's a technical issue or whether it's schoolwork. So even if it's online, she never gets bored and is always looking forward to attend school. That's a huge compliment to every single one of those teachers. And I think I just want to add one more Mr. Antle, and that is Mr. Antle is the best. He's friendly, really works on building relationships with our kids. And I think that about says it all right there, relationships.
I'd like to shout out one of our counselors, Ms. Kara Teschner. This is from the Miles family. SCPA would not be manageable if it weren't for the miraculous, amazing, intelligent, knowledgeable, and competent Kara Teschner. Kara goes above and beyond for my student. She has helped make choices that have eased her stress and study, has mapped out future courses, has put her forward for all academic opportunities that match her needs, answers parent emails in a flash with detailed directions and advice, has facilitated textbook pickup, answer communication at all hours of the night and weekend, and is a tireless to make our students succeed. Even though we are no longer assigned to her, she keeps our student under her wing and makes sure that college courses AP exams, application information for the future, etc., is at the ready, and she is never irked by our endless correspondence. We adore her, and we adore KT, as we call her as well.
So true. Roxanne, do you have one? She's muted there.
Sorry. It's dinner time in my household.
I was gonna say, is supper ready? That's what we say back in
Supper is
Ohio.
ready.
Is supper ready?
Yeah. So the kiddos are eating. I'd like to acknowledge one of our counselors, Miss Cavada. This is from, I believe, the Bradshaw family. I reached out to her over concerns for my son. She jumped right on it. She's been friendly and helpful and really made him comfortable. I am very fortunate to work with the counseling staff this year, and I totally agree with all the accolades that parents have said about a wonderful team of women that I've known, but we've really grown close over the past year. So thank you for all the kind words to the counseling staff. They are loved by all of us.
And I want to thank again all of you for joining us this evening. I think the fire behind me is slowly dying, which means the hour is almost up. Thank you for your trust in us. Thank you for persevering by our side. I think that it's true when I speak of the entire team. We do not feel alone because of your constant love and the support that you show us. And even the frustrations that you share with us. We are all working hard to make sure that our students find their joy and feel loved and supported, even though we are all experiencing a world pandemic. We do not know what that means, it looks like, and feels like, as we start a new day each day. So thank you all for everything. Ms. Hatfield, it looks like you have one of your children on your right or your left asking you to say, get to supper. So one thing is true, I have a hard time sitting still, so I'm doing very well during this 1 hour long episode, right? I'm sitting here fidgeting. We love family, and we are very candid and authentic. So you get the real deal when you come to FCPA. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us this evening. Have a wonderful evening, and love those who are beside you. Be kind and be well. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.